I gave Stella some medicine, so she should go back to sleep, but she's cleaning her bed and stuff with her tongue right now. I think it's like self-soothing when she doesn't feel good. Last night she just was licking and licking this back paw. I was even checking to see, like, did you break a nail or something? And I just think she's just so achy. You know, I'm glad I'm doing the wood heat, even though it's hard to stabilize the temperature, but it's got to be so much better for her bones. Like, this moist coldness, oh, it is so freaking cold. It's just, oh, it makes me so upset about, you know, what they're doing to the homeless. It's just so sick. It's just, you know, I gotta remind myself all the time. Every soul came in here for their own experience. It may be outlandish to you, but, you know, that's their experience that they want to go through, which I have had so many things about that. Like, my epiphanies or communication or something has just been like, it's just so nonstop. I can't even cover all of this stuff. I wanted to try and say something more about that. There was quite a few things I wanted to talk about. Oh, my face feels like it's got sand on it. Weird. I don't know where that came from. Oh, maybe because I was putting powder in my hair. Especially, I didn't curl it. It's so funny. Like, after, you know, you curl it and then you don't. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so flat. But when I curl it, I like it because it covers up, I think, more of this, whatever's going on over here. I even noticed that it's doing it on my eyebrows. So whatever on my swirl, that's what trips me out about it, is how the swirl turns and how this side is more affected by what is happening in my environment than this side. So even though I am losing a lot of hair, like, you know, I feel like we could have a class action lawsuit against the government again for all this stuff. I think that is probably how they're going to put the money back into a lot of people's pockets, is this reparations for the crimes that are being committed against us. And so there's quite a few things I want to talk about. But I want to start with this girl yesterday, because the whole thing was just so strange. You know, like I said, I've been on this TikTok, this other place that they've put me that is weird. It's like weirdo world for me. And, but there is a lot of cool stuff. I've seen some cool stuff. I've seen, you know, some cool stories and stuff like that. But it is definitely let in some darkness, like, and so I was, you know, haven't been going on it as much, but I still like to go and check and see, you know, is there something going on? Because we have no idea, you know, that there's floods, there's tornadoes, there's hurricanes, all that, unless you run across somebody talking about it, you know, or somebody, you know, there's all these weather people now on TikTok who, you know, I don't even know if they had a job at a weather place and now they're just doing it on their own, but they get a lot of followers and stuff, and they talk about the weather stuff going on. But there is, you know, I mean, that's how you find out what's going on. But so when I go on, some of the stuff is just like, so that girl yesterday, man, and the way she was just so, you know, like, that's the best way to handle society. You know, they're a burden on the planet, and so we need to, you know, remove some of them. We need to decide who's not worthy. You know, that's how. And she's explaining, you know, her stuff and using the eugenics whole theory. You know, she claims it as her you know, the philosophy as well, and she's really into the removal of fetus, all the whole thing. That, you know, we should be very limited as human beings of our own lives and how we interact and procreate, and, you know, it should all be managed and maintained by somebody other than ourselves, is, you know, their theory. And so it's so weird too, because you see some of these people and you think like, well, you know, you're very much not in the mainstream, so do you not think that maybe you'd be on the list as the reject that one, you know? Or maybe, you know, a plump one, hey, that one would be a feast for many, because that's also in their theory to feed us back to each other, you know. And, that's the way you cut down on having to use resources because, let's jam pack everybody into one place. Let's have corporations run the whole show. And then let's be, the whole thing with them controlling it, and they can reduce it, they can increase it, they can do whatever they want. Like everybody's talking about the fake food that we're eating right now. Like everybody can tell that they've removed the food from our food. Like, what the hell are we eating here? And it's not just well, it could be people who that is part of their awakening, what they're waking up to is, something's off with the food. I don't know, but there's a lot of people talking about it. So, but when she had said this, and she's saying all that stuff, I just said something, I don't even remember what the first part I said. It was definitely not like coming at you in your face. I know the second part I said, you ought to look into Canada because they're already doing that. So her thing was to come back. No, I'm going to stay right where I'm at to make you miserable. And to something like to make you miserable, to make you mad, to something like that. And then, cause I like where I'm at or something like that. And, so I said, well, you're not gonna make me miserable. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, this is what's so strange to me. It's like, dude, I can just block you. I was about to block her right then. And then I thought, okay, this is strange. I mean, I've got no communication right now, which by the way, I love when you guys come in and communicate. And there's a small group of us right now who have kind of been going through this together, so it is, and I love the feedback. I love hearing what's going on with you guys and what's going on in your areas and stuff. My biggest concern, of course, is big cities, but other than that, we're kind of like, fuck, what are we going to do? Like, you can't run from the inevitable. And if it's meant to be, it's going to happen wherever you are. So it's kind of like you got to just come to peace. Like there's no running from what is going on. And it is one of the things, it just crossed my mind. But I've got more than one thing on my mind again where I'm trying to like, okay, get a hold of this and that. So, but everything keeps running into everything else. But I'll go back to the girl because I'm sure that'll cross back in my mind what I was going to say. But so whatever it was, I felt like, oh yeah, because the small amount of communication. Yeah, because, there's a whole thing what my guides tell me about that. And I'll tell a lot of stuff after. I've got to, the stuff they tell me, I'm not going to just put every single thing out there. I'm going to, wait. And then when stuff happens, then I will say if I was wrong or right. Anybody who's been listening to me knows I wouldn't lie about it. Like, it's more important to me to understand the truth than it is to lie and trick anybody. Like, I'm not about that. So I will definitely tell, like, what I was wrong about, what I was right about, because, there's a lot of stuff they've been telling me how things are going to play out and what's about to happen and stuff like that. So to me, it is kind of like, waiting and seeing. But, for now, we're a small group, but I think that there's going to be a lot more people coming. I think, a lot of you guys will have a role helping some people, in the comments and stuff, because there is, I just think right now we're a small group, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. So, but I enjoy talking to you guys for sure. And especially right now, like I'm so restricted. It's not just TikTok. YouTube is removing my followers every night and stuff. So, I'm completely censored. So that energy is very, you can see how tight that energy, they're pulling that energy tight. So the other side of that energy is going to be very different. So we'll see how stuff plays out, All I know is the stuff they tell me. But so that girl, this is what was tripping me out, because they were showing me so much more. They're always showing me so much more. I'm telling you, the more you open up, and that is one of the things I'm going to talk about too, is understanding the signs and the communication from the universe, because, it is, I've got some thoughts about that. And so I want to talk about that. And then also, because this I thought was kind of interesting too. I saw this girl talking and she was Native American and she looked like she was Chinese or she looked like she was Chinese or like Korean or something. I was like, there's so much lies about our stuff. It was like, was there the Mongolians or the Tartarians or whatever, because there's this split in the ages. And then do they take the DNA and then do they, go to the Cabbage Patch and create the new group that's coming in? Because there's weird stuff. Like I was even thinking stuff about with my brother with the red hair and how that, this was even back in the 60s, but definitely back in the 40s and stuff. Like they would talk about like with you had a redhead kid, you just knocked their heads off. Like nobody wanted a redhead kid. And I started thinking about the folklore that could possibly be attached to that. Because why? Why be so anti-ginger or anti-redhead? Like, it's got to come back from deep in our DNA or in our stories. And I start thinking about like where the stories begin and end for the tribes and stuff. But if there was like these certain tribes of like Mongolians and then they started going out, depending on the land masses and how they could travel and during the different times and ages, but how they went out and it became all of these different people, because all these different tribes from all different places, they look so similar, but yet they're divided up in other labels and nationalities and groups and stuff. That's the part of they're just dissecting us. And I don't know. There's a whole thing, though. When I saw that, I was just like I said, they'll just show me this whole thing. And it's sometimes it's exhausting because you just see this whole thing. It's interesting, though. It is really interesting. Because I'm interested in that stuff. And I do realize at this point now, like my purpose and why I was directed to see the things I was directed throughout my whole entire life and what I was supposed to be learning, like all of this stuff. Like so much stuff makes so much more sense. But so this girl, when she started, like all of a sudden that was all my communication and my notifications was this girl just messaging me. And so I was going to block her. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe she is, needing something. Maybe she's needing some connection. I can't fault her for that. So, I will go in and have this conversation and, say what I got to say and then leave. And if it's whatever, it's easy to block somebody. I'm not going to go all emotional into it. Like, you better believe what I believe. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. And so, but it's important for her, obviously, for me to, I think she was just looking for somebody to argue with, which I didn't really see that. I was seeing my perspective is to try and help somebody. So that is where I'm coming at some kind of conversation, right? And so she is saying all of this stuff, and I just keep trying to say, yeah, but man doesn't have to do that. The universe is doing that on its own. This is a shift in the energy. The vibration is changing. All of those bad people, because she kept saying this has to be done to get rid of the bad people. So see, that's where I was coming at. I was like, okay, so maybe she just thinks like we got to get rid of the bad people. So that's where I was coming at, like, trying to help her, like, because she looks like somebody who's been bullied. And then I went on and I looked at her thing, and she had like 21 followers. I don't remember, like, I think in the hundreds of how many people she was following. And it could have just been like 30. I don't know. I can't, I'm bad with numbers. But I remember hers was was a very small amount of people following her, which then I was like, oh, so she's probably a lot of negativity. And then, but I looked and she had tons of videos. And I don't even remember, I think maybe like 1,000 likes. I don't know. But anyways, so she wanted to be heard. She wanted to talk. She's yearning for somebody to, interact with her. Obviously, she's putting out video after video after video. And, and she's not getting people who are following her or whatever. And as soon as I said anything, and I had seen in the comments before I ever commented that it was people who are like 100%, man, hell yeah, I'm ready for the purge, like this kind of thing, like, and what's so crazy too is like you guys, which I'm assuming that these are the same progressive people who are like anti, I'm all anti the colonizers, and it's like, where your attitude comes from. Like, so who do you think it went in and decided, like, oh, those tribe people, they're not worthy. No, they don't get to choose their lifestyle anymore. They don't get to choose their life. No, we're going to get rid of them, get rid of them, get rid of them. We'll re-educate you if you want. We'll take your little mugrat kids and we'll put them in a little school. We'll tell you we're going to re-educate them. Then we'll tell you we're going to rehome them. And then 100 years later, find out we just buried them out back. So, that is what these people, and the non-consensual sterilization has been going on in my, because you can't just say minority is like a pretty broad thing, because it envelops anybody with any kind of tone to their skin typically, and also anybody who does not have money. So it's a pretty wide amount of people who would be considered minorities. And at this point, they've been knocking us all down to where we're all becoming the minority, where the minority becomes the majority. That is the switch that we're going through right now. It's where everything is flipping, because they were pushing so hard for this one thing. But now the minority is becoming the majority, which flips it the other direction. And that's why everything is upside down. That's why we all feel like, this doesn't make any sense. It's why, so many people went out and tried to get jobs, but it was always the shittiest people who were the ones moving up in the ranks. And it always seemed confusing. And then also where with the judicial, how, I mean, there's so much coming out about that. That's one thing, too, that you see where people share information, is the local officials that are being exposed right now for their what is that? That's a whole bunch of words that I don't, their involvement in the traffic situation, which, anything that has to do with that leads straight into the harvest, the whole thing. So, it all leads to the next thing, then using people for your own depravity, it just keeps going. It's all linked, and all these people are being exposed for it. I mean, I think I've even seen where a judge lets somebody off, as long as the mom would, bang it out with him out back. So it's like the corruption, and that is what was moving up, and it didn't make any sense to so many people. People found this place so frustrating. Like, I'm a good person. Why can't I get ahead? Why can't I move forward? And they keep, moving up these people who are rotten, so, and, they're, I got this stuff up. It is like there's just a lot of rottenness, and there's rottenness out there for anybody to go and get involved in. And another thing too, when you think about like this, trying to move real quick, where I said, it started becoming a thing about, the money situation, and there is such extreme scams. And I started saying this, I think a year or a year and a half ago. I swear to God, it was shortly after I started doing this. I started saying, like, there is an extreme amount of scams going on right now, and that it is the people, like the banking, it's like the whole thing is all the same. The scammers work for the same people as the banks. Like, it's all a part of the same thing. And so I could see that so clearly. And now I keep seeing all these people talking about like the craziest fucking scams. These people have You know, there's no way some of this stuff could be going on if it wasn't, you know, being done on the inside. But so, and I had said there's going to be shit, there's going to be a problem with the money. Like where, you know, all of a sudden that your money is in the process and you're left holding nothing. And so I saw this, I think this person was a title company person or something. And they're all involved with this fucking development because she's talking to the developers, everyone involved in developing a neighborhood. You know, and this is what fucking pisses me off. Is even when they come into your neighborhood and they say, hey, we're going to just develop your neighborhood. This rich guy back here, he bought all this land. And so now he's decided that he's going to put in pack a whole neighborhood in there. And since, you know, we got to get our backs scratched here and, you know, we got a trip planned to Bermuda. So we're going to go ahead and do whatever he wants. But go ahead and give us your opinion. You know, it's such a fucking bullshit. I swear to God. It just really chaps my ass, I swear. Just the corruption and how deep it goes to the level, you know, and it's all in the water. It's all with it's every fucking thing. Every resource that we have is linked in, and every frustration that they can create to make things hard on us and keep us frustrated and take things away from us. And so this one lady, so she was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is the craziest thing. You know, this was the most perfect setup house sale. Like everything was perfect. Everything was in line. A brand new house. They've done the inspection. Everything was perfect. And all the people were on board and everybody's involved. The contractors, the developers, the title, the bank, the blah, 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 you know, because there's going to be 100,000 people involved in you getting a house. Of course, because, you know, everybody's got to get paid for anything you fucking do. So these, I swear to God, I really got a thing against these people. And there could be some realtors who went into it who were just like, oh, I just want to help people get their dream home, you know. And then after a while, you know, you start seeing, well, you know, I'm just going to shave a little here, shave a little there, a little truth knocked off here. You know, it's not about them getting the perfect home. It's about me getting the paycheck at the end. So people, you know, become corrupted by the system and they're yearning for this financial gain. And so it happens in all of them. But, you know, this one right now is being exposed just as long as all the other ones. And the hurting us and containing us and putting and then the whole manipulation with the income, like, oh, all the houses are going to be worth so much, and then they turn it into a slum and it drops. Your houses are worth nothing, which I just heard also that all of these people, like when the houses went way, the interest went right. God, I can barely talk. I've been up since 1:30. Last night is the weirdest night. I've even smoked this morning because I just had such a bad headache. Every single thing in my body is hurting so bad. It's weird. And I keep having these like glitchy colors. It's like, what is going on? Come on. Oh, God. So let me get back to what I was talking about. I'll probably have to just go circle back to something else. So the realtor lady, no, the title lady, she was saying that, so everything was ready. Everything was perfect. They were going to go close this morning. And I think this was the day before Thanksgiving that she was doing this. And they were going to close, but I went and looked at all her things. She didn't give any update on this. But I saw that she's just really into real estate agent stuff. Like, oh my God, everything on her thing. That they showed up at 10 for their closing, and their $110,000 was transferred to some foreign entity bank or something. It was hacked in. And then she's going through explaining this whole hack, this whole thing, and how she's never seen anything like this. This is the craziest thing. Yeah, because this is what's going to keep happening. Because this is the system is showing itself. And it is corrupt as fuck. And they're going to find these loopholes. And I don't know if these people got their money back, if they're still in the thing. Their whole sale went on hold for 10 days while they tried to resolve this. I don't know if they're going to get their money back. I don't know. This lady was saying that they could track the money, and she said the banks are being so helpful. They will be helpful to a point, but it's all about this collapse. But when they jacked up the interest rate, or no, they dropped it way down. So, and then everybody went out and refinanced their house and got a bunch of money. And so when this collapse happens, which we're obviously in the process, people are going and trying to and I keep trying to pay attention about the production industry around here with the developing, because it all has to do with money. They have to constantly be getting more money. It's like this, if we could all have what the developers have with the bank relationship, it's all scammy, schemy shit. And so like we go put our money in and the developer gets to go take it and buy supplies to put his houses in. It's all for the betterment of mankind, isn't it? So it's all about the control. And that is another thing where that girl was like, well, there's no resources. And I said, you could take every single person on the planet right now, every single person, that includes the kids, give them 5 acres, and we would still only take up like Texas. You took every single person. There's plenty of room. The whole problem is that the way that they try and jam pack us in, and then they try and supply all the resources, and then they tell us that we're the problem. And not only that, they're so busy trying to make more money that they create more shit, like packing materials and all this shit. Some of this stuff is so ridiculous. There should be no reason that we have hundreds of fucking glass bottles, plastic bottles, all of this stuff. There should be places that we can go refill our bottles. Just give me a fucking break. But we got these great minds, these great scientists, yet they can't figure shit out. Bullshit. It's all about control. And it is all about them messing with the economy and stuff. So now when the economy crashes, as this goes down, all these people, because already now, I guess people are already, with how the interest rate is going up, it's already putting them in the red in their houses or whatever. So now it's impossible for them to sell them. And anything that's going to happen, because people are going to start losing their jobs like crazy. And so then they won't be able to pay their bills. Like right now, it's totally, I don't know how far this is all going to go. But if it keeps going, Joe has every intention. He said 2023, you don't get Social Security unless you man up, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm done taking in their chemicals. To me, I have gotten so much healthier. I feel better, even though I've got horrible pains right now and a lot of issues. And it drives me crazy too, because one of the things I see is these women talking about now with breast implant poisoning. So there's some breast implant toxicity, I had already knew about girls getting lupus, but that was supposedly off silicone. And then if you have saline, but see, it is it's beyond the saline. It's something with the plastic and stuff inside. Like there's all this stuff that they wanted to put in us doesn't belong in us. And we all thought, well, they said it's okay. It must be okay. It's like, no, it was never okay. But with our limited information, we trusted them. And we're watching, so many people still do. And the trust is what, fucks you in the end. So but these people with this attitude too, it's like you've got the same attitude as the colonizers. That's why I'm like, you are the ones who need to keep repeating these 3D lives, because you haven't learned. Like, you have the same philosophy, the same mentality. Like that man should come in and make decisions over man. And it isn't that way. You have to go into trust that there's a natural way of things, and there's a whole spiritual purpose to life. Like life is not, how these people think. And so there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be freaking out, like, as this financial thing keeps going. I don't know how far it's got to go. There's the food thing, like, there's so much, and it's all being done on purpose, and there's so many people who aren't even paying attention. And that's why, you just got to let go of anything that you have and realize, it's artificial, so it's pretend, it's not real, so it's not really yours. It's just like the Sims game or whatever, It's what you accumulated in the game, but sometimes you have to give back. But when you give back, then, it's going to be better. But you have to trust that process. A lot of people don't trust that process. They don't even understand that process. And a lot of people aren't even up to that level, like these people who just think like it's a good idea to just start killing the ones that you don't agree with. Yeah, it's so mental. It's just so crazy how the people who are driving it home are such hypocrites, that they don't even acknowledge the problem in their thinking. They don't even see it. And that's why, this universe is going to come in and show them. I was sitting there feeling last night, like, man, maybe I do come from, like, because my neighbor sent me this video, and, everybody around here is just dead ass asleep. And so he sends me stuff sometimes, and he was sending me like memes and stuff, and so I started thinking like, okay, so he's not anti-Trump by the memes he had sent. He is more anti just politics, and just sees that the government's some bullshit. But and I don't know what he thinks about with religion or spirituality or anything, but he sent me this video, and he said something positive about it. I don't remember, like, this is true or whatever. I don't remember. But it was something like, he was in alignment with it. And so I started watching it, and it's on YouTube right now, and it's called It's the End or something like that, or This is the End or something like that. If anybody wants it, I can look and send it to them. But it's very, very religious about what's going on. And in this, it talks about people like me, and we are the devil. We are the Antichrist. We are the opposite of, we are the people you need to fear and run from. The people who tell you that you have consciousness, that you have sovereignty, that you have abilities, that you have power, all of that, that we are the problem. We're from the devil. And I have heard this so many times, like on TikTok and stuff like that. Like, any of us, if you don't just say, Jesus, Lord, Savior is, that's the only way to the heavens or whatever. If you don't stay on the narrative, then you were just the Antichrist or whatever. And then, but I know that all of that stuff works together. And then, I do find myself laughing at stuff that I think other people would not find funny, but it's because I don't see it the way that other people see it. I see what's behind it or something. I just don't see it the way other people see it. This is part of my evolution of understanding too, is understanding how people perceive, like that there's people who don't think, that can't picture in their head, they can't hear in their head, all sorts of things, and then I was like, man, and I know I'm not some sort of special, I know all souls are the same, but I definitely have abilities that other people don't have, but I just believe that we can all have the same abilities. I don't believe like any abilities that I have, I believe that it is for me to teach other people that they can do the same thing. It isn't so people come and be like, sit and say, oh, you're so wonderful, you're so wonderful. My idea is like, everybody's got the same thing, they just don't know how to use it. And so I think that's part of my thing is just to help people understand some things or something, because my communication is so easy with, but I mean, right now as all this pressure is building, and they've been telling me certain things for a long time, and now it is coming to the point of the truth, seeing in the physical. That is a huge thing of my understanding of the communication. That is what I'm, waiting for this rubber band to snap back so I can see the truth. So I know, what they told me, and how much of it is how I understood it. So, but to me, and I know that there's a reason why I had such strong guidance from the time I was so young. Like, it trips me out, like how people, like, I can't even imagine going around in life and feeling so alone, because there's a lot of times where I felt alone, even when I knew there was people all around me. And seeing, to me, this whole thing with spirituality was just an awareness that I'm a spirit and everything is a spirit, and that there is no aliens or monsters or witches or ghosts, or all of it is just spirits in different realms and different vibration. It's just that is what I have always understood, and that reincarnate, we just go from thing to thing and stuff. So and all this new spiritual stuff, I don't know, but back when I was leaving Christianity, it was more about like, well, my God would not punish people. My God is loving. My God loves me and loves everybody. My God would not punish somebody to go to hell. My God, and understanding that alien, like, I had a completely different understanding. And I see how much it limits people to not look at things deeper. And even when I was talking to that girl, I think, it made her angry, because she kept trying to make fun of me, or trying to start a fight or something, which I wasn't really too sure about until towards the end of the conversation, when she was like, telling me, LOL, you're not even a good debater. I was like, dude, I didn't know we were debating. I had no idea that's what was going on here. I thought I was trying to be supportive and tell you everything's going to be okay. Things are changing naturally. You don't have to worry about the bad people. Because she was asking questions, about the bad people, the negative people and stuff. But I was hearing her questions different than she obviously meant them. And then she tried to be snide. I said, well, seeds are already planted, so whatever. And she, said something about, whatever, something, trying to be rude about that. I don't even remember what she said. I don't think she understands what it even means. It's like, once you hear something, it just stays in there, and then the universe will bring it out at the right time and make it quite clear to you what, So, that obviously, chick, you don't realize, if you're talking to me, this will be brought back up to you. That's how the universe is going to work. Not very many people talk to me. Like, if you're talking to me, there's a purpose, there's a reason. And that is, something that, a lot of people have to start understanding about. That is one of the big things that I have learned about through this process, which I'll explain more about too later, about the destiny. Like, there's nothing, we are literally on a predestined journey. There is, and every frustration is people trying to control their own journey. When you come to peace, then you're along for the ride. But when you're trying to control it and you're frustrated and angry, that is all trying to control destiny, which you can't do. And so that has been a big part of my learning throughout this stuff. And so I completely understand it on another level that a lot of people don't. But when you are talking about the communication and signs, like, even if you can't hear inside of your head, you know, which a lot of people, I think they just get really confused over what all's going on inside their head, like between thoughts and communication. So I think, and emotions, you know, there's a lot going on there for a lot of people. And that is what the whole thing is behind with spirituality, of quieting the mind, shut off all the noise and center yourself and try and get your communication, try and figure out what's really going on in there, you know. And that's what I kind of call spinning out. There's just your thoughts just start spinning out, and you know, and then your emotions are spinning out and stuff. So you know, there is a whole thing to that, you know, quieting your mind and drawing yourself into focused thought, you know, like, you know, so, because sometimes you can start with meditations too that are led meditations that will take you on a journey, and you use your mind, you know, practice being able to visualize. And you don't have to see the pictures clearly. You can tell yourself you see the pictures. Like, I don't know how to explain some of this stuff, but there's other ways to come at it as a consciousness. So, you know, and it's an expansion. It's this expansion of your abilities. So it's something to work on, but don't feel bad if you don't do it, because, like, I don't know if it is impossible for some people to do it, if that's just not what they're here to experience. So, you know, but I can help people who are trying to just get confirmation over what they're experiencing. Because it is, to me, you know, like I've said, it's a lot of whispering. You know, to me, when the voices come in loud and intrusive, I always think that's strange. And I had it happen again last night, a loud, intrusive voice that yelled something weird. You know, and I swear to God, now that I've seen these people, I rebuke you. I've been doing that too. Like, I rebuke you. Get the fuck out of my head. And, because it is, it's intrusive, and that isn't how the universe communicates. The universe communicates, and that is why it's so hard for so many people to understand it, because it's subtle. It is literally, you have to tune into it. And if you're focused, hyper focused on your drama, trauma, whatever, then it's very difficult to focus on something that's subtle, you know. You know, you get more like you need the drama to be grounded or something instead. You know, because I was thinking about this too, is, you know, when so much stuff went awry, and there was so much, because I was watching the Chippendales thing, and oh my gosh, it had to go into a hardcore sex scene, and they had to do a hardcore sex scene for gay guys, you know, and the guy's just pounding him, and then this girl over there, she's getting pounded and stuff. I was like, you know, why do they just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing this shit? Like, why do they think that anybody wants to see that? Like, it's like there are not enough people are into porn. Well, let's just start putting it into the, you know, regular old TV. Let's just flood them with it. It's like, I don't, it wrecks it kind of. But when I was, you know, thinking about that stuff and thinking about all of the stuff that went on in the 80s, and, you know, it really was fortunate for me to be grounded by kids. You know, when you had kids at that time, you know, you had something to focus on. So I think a lot of us had kids, but, you know, there was also the other side of that, where there was a lot of kids who had parents during that time who were not there for them at all, because they were so into what was going on during that time. So there was both sides, but to me, you know, it really kept me more grounded and not so out there. And as I just saw this other girl, and she was a young girl, and she was just distraught about this, like totally distraught. And she's like, you know, you spend most of your life being an old person. This girl's super young, but she said this is like, it is like her main focus in life is aging. She's so freaked out and scared of aging. It is her hyper focus. And so she said that when you are, so you're a child until you're 17. Then from 18 to 25, you're a young adult. From 26 to 39, you're an adult. And then till you're 49. And then from 49 to 61, you are middle-aged. And then after 61, so 62, so I'm almost to 62. So 62, then you are an old person. That's how it's classified, Yeah, because it's real easy just to generalize. Everybody's the same. Just line them up. It's just a conveyor belt. Oh, you're this, you're this, you're this. It's like, okay, that's limiting. But, okay, so she, is just very upset about this and how unfair life is. That when you're at your best, that you are, you only get a short time, because she was like talking about how many years you get for each period, and you spend most of your time being an old person, and all of this other time is so small and limited, and that is your best time. She even said that your youth, you got to just live it all in your youth. I was like, man, that's the wrong philosophy. Like, you do not want to try and live all your life in your youth. When you want to just come clanking in an old beat up model and then carry that around for 30 years, like, you better be thinking about this a little bit differently. Like, guys, what I'm talking about, this perspective, like these perspectives that are so flat. It's like, look at the other side, man. And so she's all about this, it's totally unfair, you're fucked, your life's over. And I messaged her, I said, I'm 61, and I promise you, life does not end as you get older. Your life just begins when your kids move out, man. And then these kids don't realize, there is a purpose to those parts, those sections of life that help you to grow into who you are. And part of the whole reason why our bodies are aging is because of the chemicals and stuff. Once that kind of stuff is taken out, we're going to go back to living hundreds of years again. It is, this assault on our existence. And so, she's thinking, you got to go live hard while you're young, because then you're going to just be old and decrepit for most of your life. And it's like, you don't become old and decrepit unless you don't take care of yourself when you're younger. And that is where I was thinking, like, man, I'm glad when I was younger, during that time, that I did have this grounding kind of situation, because I had kids. There was always that kind of, well, I got kids, you can't go crazy, you can't go wild, can't just go have all these horrible friends, and I went and did a lot of stuff. Like, that was all during that Hollywood period. Like, I went and did all that stuff. I just didn't do it long term. Like I said, I'm like a hummingbird in life. Go and experience all these different things, but I don't go full into them. I go in, to experience things. And so, I had a lot of experiences. Like, I did drugs, but it didn't become a part of my life. And I went out and partied, but it wasn't my whole entire life. And so, I think that there's a lot of people who went hard during the 80s and 90s, and now, they're riding around in some, rode hard, put away wet models, like they've really drug their bodies through it, and their bodies are suffering. And then with, this just rely on us mentality in society here, just come take a pill. There's so many people who have surrendered with their blood pressure, with the diabetes, with the lipid, all these different things, like where they just want to put us on pills instead of changing your diet or changing your attitude or changing anything that involves with your health, the things you need to change to actually make change. They want you to just keep doing the same thing, but take this pill with you, and that is disaster. And they've got their pills to where their pills make it where our bodies stop functioning for itself and become reliant on these pills. And so, you have all of these people who are aging from all of these chemicals. They're feeling, I still, like all the time, I was to say every week, but I see a really young person say, oh, I'm getting so old. It's like, oh my God, you're already telling yourself you're getting so old and you're not even 30? Like, oh my God, you got a ways to go. But you can see, like, how this is a development of consciousness. It's how you look at life. It's your attitude. It's how you see things. It's your perspective. It's your perception. That is what is being expanded so you can see more, so you can see further. And, and back to the communication thing. And so, for me, there's all sorts of ways of communication. They talk to you through the TV. Like yesterday when I said I was doing the tree thing, and I was saying to them, like, oh my God, isn't it? Because I'm always entertaining them. I'm like a song and dance man. Like, I'm always dancing around, singing, doing little shows for them. And so, what else do I got to do? Talk to y'all and dance around my house. But so when I was talking about the tree and saying something, and then the TV said, it's lovely. So, those are the things where, people are like, oh, crazy people think the TV is talking to them. No, it's talking to you. If you're talking to it, it's talking to you. Anything that you are talking to is talking back to you. And so but you gotta be listening, because they'll talk through music. They'll talk right directly into your head. They'll talk through TVs. They'll talk through other people. Just like that guy, buying that coffee for that guy, even though it's totally out of character. And then his dead brother messaging him later and said, thanks for the coffee. Which I really want to see how this turns out. If he goes and finds his dead brother was never dead, is communicating off Facebook. Or if he ever finds the homeless guy who wanted the coffee to begin with, It's an intriguing story. It's intriguing because of his perspective. Because if he would have just left it alone, it's like my dead brother communicated with me, I would have been all about it. But like he's going in search of like he's investigating now. He's like, no, something's fucking up. Like this is weird, and plus he's got a whole persona. I don't even know how to explain him. He's intriguing. He's got me intrigued. But so anyways, there is so much communication all the time. They use numbers. It can be, and this is where you start really paying attention, because it's like you're thinking about something, you're talking about something. Usually it's, I'm thinking about something. Some will pop into my head. And so I'll have a little conversation with it, because that is what is always happening. People think they're thinking about something, but you're having communication with your higher self, your guidance. And, but so many people want to fight that. But anyways, so, have a little chat. And then all of a sudden, your phone beeps, you look over and it's a certain number. That's your confirmation. They're letting you know if something isn't right or out of sync. Like they're letting you know all the time. Like, yep, that's it. Yeah, stay on that. And then, and that is what I like tarot about. I know that there's people who use tarot for the wrong reasons. They go in and they just are like, tarot, tell me what to do. And that's not how I do tarot. I do it more as like it's a confirmation. If they're not confirming to me what I know inside of me, then I turn it off, because it's a confirmation thing. But I get, full conversations from that stuff. Like they'll go through deep explaining to me exactly what's on my mind and stuff. So, so to me, that's another form of communication, because you'll literally see like how it would be impossible for you to be thinking about something, talking about something, and then the TV starts telling you in response to exactly what you're talking about. Like when you start seeing that stuff, you're not crazy. It's not coincidental. It is, you have reached a point of, you're involved with the communication. You've realized you're in communication now. So start following those paths towards, finding your communication, because your communication is what gives you peace, because it is just a part of our lives, is to try and control it. It's how we've been led, it's how we've been taught, it's how we've been trained, it's how we've been programmed. And so everybody is trying to control their lives instead of just allowing their lives to play out. And and everything right now is provoking us into wanting to control it, just like, like, oh my God, should I be moving, should I go here, should I go there? It's just like, start thinking, like, where is there a safe place? Like, they're doing these plans everywhere. They got fucking volcanoes, they got earthquakes, they got windstorms, they got avalanche, no, mudslides happening, rock. I mean, they've got everything going. I don't know where it would be that there's one safe place for us all to go. It's kind of like you have to be where you are and then trust that's where you're supposed to be, and however stuff is going to go down, it's going to go down. To me, though, we have reached a point where it's like, you've got to stay put. Like, there is some manipulation with the money and the finances, and what they're going to do when they collapse it. And and now they've got all these people owing all this money. There's going to be so many people so stressed out, and so it needs to happen. The collapse, like, you don't owe anything. And that's going to be so confusing to people, because there's so many people who aren't ready to be receiving. It seems just impossible. Like, it is an impossible dream to receive. So that is going to be, and when people realize, what assault we're under and why, and even their family members who have cancer, it's being done on purpose and all that. Like, there's gonna be some anger. There's gonna be a lot of anger, and that is all in the process. I just saw this girl talking about her husband. There's so many of these, these husbands just suddenly leaving their wives and their kids for other women and stuff. And she was talking about she was talking about something with it. She had to move out, but something else I was going to say. I don't know. It probably didn't matter. But anyways, there is, they are trying to communicate. They are trying to show you where you need to be. To me, it is the most unsafe places will be in the city. That is, if I lived in the city right now, I would definitely have a bug out plan. Like, I would definitely have an evacuation plan. Like here, because I know that the evacuation is part of the problem where I'm at. So, I'm not going to try and go out. And, I would try and ride out whatever's going to happen right here. And I don't know. I mean, to me, something's got to happen, because these people are all so asleep. Something's got to bring them in and bring them together. Like, they're all, it's strange. And I don't know if there is going to be just a lot of mass casualties in my area. I don't know. I know that most of these people over here are not awake. So, and this is all about the awakening. So, but in the cities, however far they're going to try and take this, that is where they're going to get people fighting and purging and all that stuff. It is going to be really horrible when shit goes down. If it's going to be suddenly like the power goes off or whatever, that is not going to be the best place to be in any city. To me, at that point, just going anywhere out into a rural area. In communities, smaller rural communities, and I was thinking about this, with the people around here, that is a safer place to go. But the people around here, they're all just like, I guess you would see as stuff goes down, the people who would jump in to help, because even people who were asleep down at the floods, they were there for other people. So, going into a smaller community where people are going to be trying to work together more over whatever disaster is going. So if you're in a big city, just head out, like, know your evacuation to smaller communities. Maybe even, take a couple of little day drives out and look around and get a plan going, of where you want to go. Maybe even go and, leave a bag like that, like the preppers say, leave a bug out bag, leave a setup. I had even said, at this point, while everything is crashing, go fucking rent a U-Haul and then take it out in the woods and set it up as a little apartment so you have a little place to go when shit goes down. But going out into smaller communities will be a much safer place. Being in the cities is going to be the most dangerous. And then, wherever, like if you're right next to a volcano and the volcano goes off, so that is going to be, more dangerous than some other places. And the earthquake, the fault lines and stuff. But, even during these earthquakes, there's fault lines in strange places. They even said, we had an earthquake. And I think there's stuff going on underground, there's stuff going on in the sky, and it's so weird how all these people, like the picture that I put of the sky, I can see it so clearly. Like, to me, it is so clear that there is something behind the sun. And these people who come in and say, like, I can't see it, like, they get mad at me. Like, well, you should have done this, you should have put arrows, you should have circled it, you should have, it's like, what? Go look at more videos. Like, go just do a search of the halo behind the sun. You'll get a million pictures. Like, and they're sitting there getting mad at me. Well, I don't see it. It's like, well, I don't know. I'd go get checked for color blindness. That's all I can tell you, because I see it perfectly fine. And it's so weird how people are like, well, you should have done this and you should have done that. You should have sent the news report where the news was saying that this is, because whatever it was like a couple days apart where I saw that news report. Somebody was sharing their local news talking about what was behind the sun now is some asteroid that NASA says that they couldn't see it because the sun's so bright. Y'all are turning the fucking sun up, so you're doing it all on purpose, and you're covering it up with the cloud. Maybe they couldn't see it through all the geoengineering. I don't know. So so I saw that news clip, and then I saw that other guy who was just sharing. He was sharing something else about his sky, but I could see the halo thing so clearly, and I had seen other stuff about that. So I just took some snapshots, some screenshots of his thing, and I showed it. But I have shown so many videos of that when I'm out here. So I don't know. These people, like, I swear, they refuse to see what's around them, Like, there's just so much weird stuff. Like, I'm so weirded out by that. Just that girl's attitude and her hatefulness. And I did, she said something else, and I said, well, I'm not going to sit and fight with you, and I'm not going to deal with toxic people. Like, that's not my jam. So I'm just going to go ahead and block you now. So bye. I really do wish you the best, because she kept trying to say really snotty stuff. And, I was like, I really do wish you the best, I'm not going to put out hate. You can put out hate. I'm not going to, I'm not going to play along, because I know that I will end up feeling bad. Like, and I don't have anything to do with their feelings, what she's got to deal with. But I'm not going to set myself up to feel like shit. So I'm going to be putting out compassion and caring, and, I don't have to play games and put people down to feel good. So, anyways, I don't even know if I said all this stuff. Now I see I've been talking a long time. I may do some more videos today. Seriously, like, there's something weird with my hands. It feels, I don't know, it's like some sort of attack on my nerves in my body or something. It's really strange. And it just reminds me of before about the whole water thing. I may smoke another cigarette today. They make me so dizzy. Oh, man, they are rough. I could never be somebody who smoked a lot of cigarettes, that's for sure. There was something else that just came to my mind, too. Well, anyways, all we can do is just keep trying to stay prepared, Do what you can, like even for your own house. If they turn off the power while it's so cold, have ways to stay warm, have some food, because they're definitely going to try and do that. I just don't know how long all this stuff's going to last. But even if it were to go for months, there would start being people who by springtime and summertime, if they start trying to short out food and stuff, there will be people, and all the homeless people will start caravanning out and start trying to build communities and grow their own food. Like, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous to think that we'd all sit here and starve and fight over, a bag of rice-a-roni or something. Like keep us all in the cities fighting about that. Like that's pure ignorance. And so those people who would do that, then that's their journey to learn from that. Those of us who want to survive this, though, we have a different journey, and that is becoming independent. And so a lot of people are waking up to that. So there will be a lot of changes. We don't have to worry, like, for years and years, we'll have no food. Like, there's all that will change. We just got to get through this hard part. And the hard part has to happen so that we have change. And that is the part of me where, I don't know, maybe because I can completely see this negative and death and all of that stuff is necessary for there to be change, for there to be some good. There has to be bad that happens to bring about good. So it does really all work together, and we are going to have to go through this massive bad thing to get people to see the truth and wake up, because you got people who are out there who are just, just strange, very strange. They go, we are being genocided right now, and you think that's a good idea. We're being geo-engineered right now, and you think that's a good idea. Like, it's strange. It's so strange. Like, it's weird. Like, talking to people that think that way. And it's I don't know. I just see that it is necessary for the two theories, the two positions to go their separate directions. To find peace on earth, we can't sit here and trying to convince these people that, real freedom is accepting everybody and letting everybody live their own lives, whatever their lives, how they choose, and that you don't destroy the planet when you just go out and take care of yourself. The corporations did that by trying to lump us all in together and trying to be our savior. And they're just destroying everything, and then all their greed, trying to sell us more bullshit we don't need all day long. And then they have to go make and destroy the planet. All that has to stop. The consumerism has to stop. The artificial desires, all that has to stop. They have to see the holes in their desires. Like, to me, it is so much about that. What is about to go down is a reprioritizing. So everybody's like headed in this one way. They've got their priorities set in a certain direction. And then when shit goes down, then it's going to become clear. That's the clarity. That's the truth. That's the shadow. That's, it's all going to be shown. So that is where you're going to see, like, if you are in alignment or you're not. That's the gift that we all get out of this situation, to see, if you're on track or you're not on track, what you're on track for. And, different ways to make your life better. A lot of people are going to think it's horrible, but they're not going to realize that their life becomes better. Your life becomes way better to leave out of this system, this like artificial desire, consumerism, the perversion, all of it. So anyways, I've been talking a lot, so I might come back and talk some more today. I don't know. Anybody who wants to talk, though, go and talk in the comments. And if it is something that I have a lot to say, I'll come in and do do more talking because I got nothing to do but sit around and talk. So anyways, have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later.